I never sent or received any material marked classified. I do believe that these leaks, which are coming out and being in some way misrepresenting and mischaracterizing what is going on, are troubling. But the basic fact that no material marked as classified was sent or received by me has not been changed.
Here now with reaction, Fox News contributor Joe Trippi and the author of Stealing America, What My Experience with Criminal Gangs Taught Me About Obama, Hillary, and the Democratic Party. New York Times bestselling author, filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza. Good to see you both. All right. The original comment, Joe, was I never sent or received classified material. Then it became I never sent or received material that was marked classified. Then it became, we got emails that told her subordinates to actually erase the heading and still send the information. And now we have the Inspector General, approved by a Democratic majority Senate, the Inspector General now making the case that, in fact, dozens of emails were found and discovered with classifications that are known as SAP, or, you know, to go, it's an acronym for Special Access Programs, beyond that of top secret. So I would argue that if all of that is true and the Inspector General is right, every one of those emails represents a single felony count in an indictment, if true, because it's a violation of law.
Well, you used a couple of ifs in there. If true, if any of this is, if all of this is true. Look, we don't know if any of this is true. I know Republicans and her opponents are going to immediately go to the conclusion that they are true, but there have been, you go through the review, you go through the investigation, there's a report, that's what this is all about.
Do you think the intelligence community's Inspector General, Charles McCullough, appointed by Obama, approved by a Democratic majority in the Senate, do you think that he aligned himself, as the Clinton campaign is claiming, and worked with Republicans to leak these materials to harm her politically? Do you believe that?
I think it's, I don't know whether he did or not, but I think it is a little bit of a coincidence that this has been leaked. A little bit of a coincidence that it's been leaked a week or two before the Iowa and New Hampshire primaries. Yeah, I think that's a little bit of coincidence.
Your issue that got you into prison, which you've talked publicly about and you do in your book, is so minor compared to this, and how many months that you had to go to the detention center?
I was in effect locked up overnight for 8 months for giving 20 grand of my own money over the campaign finance limit. I didn't benefit in any way. I think the interesting thing with Hillary, she's a very smart person, like Nixon was. And so she's not going to do things that don't benefit her in some way. She didn't set up that private server by accident. There was a reason for doing that.
You mean in a mom and pop shop in a bathroom with listen, not only top secret information, several dozen emails from the Special Access Program that are a higher level of security than top secret. And even, this is the amazing thing, these emails are so secret some members of Congress can't see them.
Right. And I agree with Joe that I think the full story here is not out, because the idea that a highly competent person who's been in public life almost all her life would do this as a goof makes no sense.
Do you think an Inspector General for the intelligence community would actually work with Republicans to leak this information, or is he giving them factual information, and it was given to Congress, that in fact he discovered this?
I think the interesting thing here is Hillary's reaction. She's already acting like this guy is part of the vast right-wing conspiracy. And so this is coming right back to the Clinton days, where the Clintons view any criticism as being a form of treason.
Yeah. Let me go back to you for the campaign, Joe. Bill Clinton, you know, a little nervous, is saying it's time to change strategy. Only 6 people met Hillary at an airport in Texas. Hillary is now recruiting every famous person she knows to help her. She's complaining in fundraising letters that she's being outspent by Bernie Sanders. There's some talk that Bernie Sanders supporters might not support her in a general election. And the polls show Bernie up in Iowa and New Hampshire. Not looking good for Hillary.
Well, no, first of all, every campaign sends out emails arguing that they're being outspent by someone else, and you have to send me money right now.
Okay, but she's behind Bernie Sanders in Iowa and 27 points behind in one poll in New Hampshire.
In New Hampshire, a neighboring state to Vermont, and in Iowa, where 43% of the party, 43% of the party in Iowa identifies as socialist, not capitalist. It is the most liberal party in the nationwide for Democrats.
And what if she loses South Carolina after that, Joe? What excuse will you come up with then?
That's not going to happen. No, no. Look, that's not an excuse. Iowa and New Hampshire are 94 and 92% white states. Vermont's a 95% white state. Bernie Sanders.
So you're saying there's too many white people in those states to vote for Hillary?
No. I'm saying that the Democratic Party is 46%, 44%, excuse me, non-white, of which she's beating him 69 to 23 nationwide, and
Joe,
she's winning her fair share in Iowa and New Hampshire.
If she loses Iowa and New Hampshire, as these polls show,
yes,
Dinesh, I argue it is a massive story, and major panic is...
That's crazy talk, Sean.
If Hillary Clinton cannot beat an avowed socialist who's a Rip Van Winkle from the 1960s, it just shows you that even among Democrats there is a huge distaste for the Clintons. It helped Obama in 2008, and it may well propel the Sanders quixotic candidacy in 2016.
Do you think she gets indicted? Do you think the FBI recommends indictment?
I don't know about that, but I do think that hearings are not enough to take Hillary down. Her tenacity is unbelievable, and indictment will be a severe wound to that candidacy.
Interesting if they try to blame James Comey and the FBI investigators if they come up with violations of the law. All right, Joe.
There's not going to be one.
Joe, I think there are numerous, but we'll see when the time comes.
We will see.
All right,
That's what this is all about.
Coming up next tonight on this busy news night here on Hannity.
All right, with almost all of the vote now actually counted, we can now project that Hillary Clinton will win.
I'm watching